let's take some wealth creation ideas from Vikas Mantri. Vikas, your wealth creation ideas are Z and Dish TV. And Dish TV you did touch upon when you were answering the query of a viewer. But then you did mention about ramping up and more HD content, and Dish TV can benefit more out of it. And Z also, as I can see from your report, that they have also launched this OTT platforms as Z5. Now my question to you is, in this world where more and more people, and one of my co-anchor has been behind us to switch to Netflix, what kind of competition you see to conventional media from the platforms like Netflix? And in overall scheme of things, why are you suggesting to buy Z and Dish TV as a preferred picks in this space?
Okay, that's a very interesting point, and clearly, yes, more and more people are interested in Netflix. But when we say more and more people, which population are we talking about? Remember, Netflix today in India largely solves the requirement of English content as a viewership option. And if you look at all content consumed in India from the television side, English is less than 2% of entire viewership. If you look at digital video consumption in India, share of English consumption is only 7%. So for anybody for the larger masses to get their requirement of content be consumed, they still have to go to the popular broadcasters like Z, Star or Sony, until unless we have significantly huge investments coming into content from the OTT players like Netflix or Amazon Prime or Hotstar in that way. Now, globally, we have seen consumers move to Netflix today because Netflix today provides a cost effective and a better content solution in those markets. Netflix is available in the US at one tenth of your cable cost. And today, Netflix nearly spends similar amount of dollars as the larger broadcasters do in those markets. However, that's not the case in India. Today, in India, most of the content is being curated by the broadcasters, and OTT platforms are yet significantly behind in terms of providing Indian content that way. So until we see the Amazon Prime and Netflix providing us enough of Indian content, I think the challenge from them is limited, and that is where I like players like Z who are doing their own stuff on OTT with the recent launch of Z5. And you will notice when you go into the app, you have a huge amount of original content, you have a huge amount of Indian movies and stuff like that, as well as they bring you about a lot of Western content as well. So Indian broadcasters are taking this challenge head on, which is coming from global OTT players, and investing in them. And that should reduce the risk of viewership shifting from conventional TV broadcasters to these OTT platforms where the broadcasters themselves can provide consumers the option. And that is where I see Z doing a good job. We also would recognize that Star and Sony and Viacom are also doing equally good jobs in trying to build their own OTT platforms. So we don't see that much as a risk from Netflix as of now for the Indian TV broadcasters. What is positive about Z going forward is we're clearly seeing a change in their market shares, where they're improving market share across geographies. Also, we talked about earlier that we've had a period of 4 to 5 years of terms of investment into digitization and into HD content. This should finally lead into better ARPUs for everybody. And when we talk about better ARPUs from the consumer, the benefit of that should eventually start following to the broadcasters. Also, remember the new tariff order, which was stuck with the courts, is expected to come out sooner given the Supreme Court verdict, and that should set the tone positively for all broadcasters. And therefore, we clearly like Z. And we talked about why Dish, largely because of the synergy event that we are positive about.
And very nicely put it, Vikas. Because one question which may not be, just related to any stocks as such, but at large. Now there is this huge scare that digital will completely take over the traditional media, and we are still quite many years behind when it comes to digitalization compared to years. But we still see there that TV is a very effective medium. How or what is your opinion when it comes to digitalization? Do you think digital and traditional medium of TV would coexist, or do you think that going forward digital would be having the lion's share in this entire pie?
So I would answer the debate in this way. It is not about digital or conventional TV or who will win this. The person with better content will win this race. And clearly, what we have seen in the Western markets is OTT or digital platforms actually coming out with superior content and therefore looking to do well. But after the huge success of Netflix today in the US market, what we should realize that it is still 4% of the entire pay TV revenues in those markets. Whereas in India, they have still just set up shop clearly. So to me, the challenge of who will do well, whether it's traditional TV broadcasters or digital, will be clearly a function of who is ready to invest in content. Now, the challenge here is clearly across to the Indian broadcasters in a way. Remember, over the last 10, 20 years, the entire broadcasting model, or largely the broadcasting model, has been advertising focused. We have failed to charge consumers as access fee, and that talks about the low ARPUs that we have in our country at $3 to $4, which basically means that we have not gone to the consumer and asked them to pay enough. And when we have not done that, this reduces our ability to spend on content. Today, if you look at Amazon Prime's content, that is Inside Edge or Breathe, if you look at the quality of content, they're actually superior, or if not superior, similar to what the broadcasters are putting in. So clearly, it is a challenge of who puts out the best content. The challenge of distribution, which was earlier an edge with TV, is now slowly going away, because let's say in a 3-4 year period, we'll have huge broadband penetration. We're already seeing a huge surge in mobile broadband penetration. So the challenge the edge which TV had of distribution will no longer be there, because people will have enough handsets and 4G data speeds to go out and watch a lot of this digital content. So the challenge finally ends up on content going forward.
Yes, content certainly is king, and with all these tariff wars, I guess the digital way of watching television has certainly come out as a winner.